The street I'm in now, this is Elm Hill, or we're in I should say. So I'm with Michael Chandler, who wrote the book on the plaques of Norwich, not the plagues of Norwich as was reported in the Jewish Chronicle. And,
yes, I remember that interview very well.
Yeah.
Of course, Elm Hill is a very historical road.
Yeah.
And quite recently it was reported in the EDP,
Eastern Daily Press.
yes,
Yeah.
that some of the stones had been stolen. And they'd been replaced by, I think it was an energy company.
Yes.
And I wrote a letter to the editor of the EDP outlining my disgust at this and that they should be replaced as soon as possible.
That's better, that's more like
But it's hard to imagine that only recently, such as 1924, this was a slum area.
Yeah.
And the council, or the corporation of Norwich, were going to demolish the whole street and turn it into a swimming pool.
So we have here one of the oldest late medieval streets in Norwich, and one of the finest, I should say. I mean, that's a rather silly statement, oldest late medieval, but certainly it's a very it's historic. It's got some wonderful architecture, and this was fortunately saved. It's a bit rough underfoot though, isn't it, with these cobbles?
It's very, very difficult. You can't run.
Yeah,
It's very difficult.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to walk down here without my
That's
shoes
what
on.
makes it quite a quaint area. Now, we're coming to Wright's Court over here, which was one of the slum areas. And now people will pay absolute fortunes to live here. I don't know if you can get a shot of the plaque for our viewers to actually see what it says.
Okay, so it's the only remaining example of a residential court leading off Elm Hill, and one of only a handful to survive in Norwich. These courts or yards were a common form of habitation for working people in the city from medieval times until the 1920s, but many were demolished during slum clearance. Several families lived in each house, sharing one pump and a privy in the yard. But I think that was normal anywhere you'd go in Europe, you'd have something similar.
But I tell you what, let's follow through here and we can show some of the viewers what it was like to actually live in Wright's Court.
So we'd have probably, what, well, at least one family per room?
Yes,
At
all
least.
sharing a toilet.
Yeah. And, there we have an example
That-
of one,
yes,
for example.
that-
It still is a toilet.
Yeah, it
doesn't.
still is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're left here with an antique shop and a tea room.
Which is pretty good use, I would say.
I would say.
Yeah, it's a great place for a tea room.
I don't know if we can get a view in here at all. I don't know if
Yeah,
we're
I don't sort of prying. Yeah, got
We
a view.
can see-
Got a view in you and me.
Yes.
This shows what it was like. I thought, though, having said that, looking at that, that's reasonably recent. That's 1930s.
Yes, 1930s in there.
Recent, 80 years ago. Yeah. Right.
But if you could just sort of like try and imagine in the 20s, so many families living here,
Yeah.
you know, cramped conditions
Yes.
on a street which was the biggest slum area in Norwich.
I've done a fair bit of filming in Spitalfields in London, for example, and you there again. There you've got lots of nationalities. You know, the immigrants coming off the docks, and this is where they're ending up. It's the local, and parts of it still do survive. I'm glad to say that they're all protected now, so we still have these areas.
We've got another court over here, Norris Court Gardens.
Now, can we get in there, or has it got the? I see there's a key. I see there's a keyhole. Yeah, all right. Oh,
no, it's definitely locked.
It's definitely locked. So we could have actually filmed ourselves getting thrown out of there. That would have got some
Over
views.
here, Alan, we've got a very interesting building. This is the Strangers Club.
Yeah.
And the Strangers Club was rebuilt after the fire of 1507 by none other than Augustine Stewart, who we've already met round the other side of Norwich.
Yes.
The plaque tells us it was Paston House, and in the 14th and 15th century a house on this very site belonged to members of the Paston family who wrote the famous Paston letters. The letters are in museums in Norwich and Cambridge now, and Augustine Stewart built this house, and it's amazing that it was built after 1507, but we can still see the Augustine Stewart crest up there.
Yeah. I hope that's coming out. I can't get much better than that, but yes, we can see it's on the left.
And there are some etchings here. I don't know if we can pick it up. The wood is quite flaky at the bottom.
Yeah. But the fact that the wood has survived now 500 years almost,
Yes.
I mean that bearing the elements, bearing at times when it was not conserved at all. I'm sure that people put some creosote or whatever is on it now, but that certainly wouldn't have happened for the first 450 years of its use.
We've also got an emblem of Augustus Stuart's wife. Now, Augustus
Yeah.
Stuart was married twice, so we don't know if it was wife 1 or wife 2.
Yeah. But the fact that we can still recognise it is quite good.
Yes.
So we've got the Britain's Arms up there.
Wonderful building, the
Yeah.
oldest thatched building in England.
Yeah.
And it survived the fire of 1507, but being protected by St Simon and St Jude Church.
So the fire was on the other side,
Yes.
but some of the buildings in Elm's Court were replaced.
Well, Elm Hill was a lot bigger than
Elm's
what
Hill,
we see
sorry.
it today.
Yeah.
I don't know how far it stretched down, but it's an amazing building to have survived.
Yeah. Yeah. That one is. It looks as though it's squashed, but we've got also the each floor. We can see how it's built out, which was done so that people could throw their rubbish out into the street.
Now, here we have a very impressive door,
Yeah.
dating back to the 1500s.
Yeah.
And above it we have a plaque
Yeah.
for Father Ignatius,
Yeah.
who founded the independent Benedictine monastery here in 1864. He was a very troubled man, and he cursed many people before he died. And it is said that his ghost runs along Elm Hill of a night time,
Yeah.
carrying a black Bible and cursing everyone he sees.
Oh, right. So is that every night he does that, or just periodically?
Periodically.
Oh, periodically. So we don't know which days.
No, we don't.
Right.
Although I wouldn't like to come down Elm Hill of a night time on my own.
Well, I don't know. I find that quite interesting, really.
I'm a coward.
That's gone. I've never heard of a ghost ever hurting anybody.
Okay, that was quite good. That was good.
Yeah, it's very nice.